Good afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining us today and welcome. Today's webinar session is called Retirement Planning for Domestic Violence Survivors and Advocates. We hope today's conversation will be thought-provoking, educational, and will leave you with some concrete resources to make decisions, steps to prepare for retirement for you and for those you serve. NCADV is honored to partner with the National Endowment for Financial Education, NEFE, to provide this 6th installment in a series of 6 free webinars to provide essential financial literacy skills, like building a strong financial foundation and making plans for the future. Before we start, I invite you to please take a moment to locate the questions box on your control panel. You can see the screenshot for more information on how to locate it. Due to the number of people on the webinar, it is possible that we may not get to all questions, but we will be sure to cover as many as we can throughout. That said, this webinar is full of opportunities to engage, answer questions, and reflect on today's topic. Participate throughout the webinar. In order to respond to any of the interactive activities, type your responses into the questions box. Also, a quick reminder that a copy of the PowerPoint, a certificate of participation, as well as several handouts on today's topic can be found in your control panel under handouts. A reminder that this webinar is being recorded. We will send it to you along with all of the handouts in a follow-up email that will come out 24 hours after the session ends. Also, at the end of the session, we will have a quick 5-question survey for you to fill out. All right, so let's take a moment to introduce today's webinar speakers. My name is Shiva McCants, and I'm the Outreach Director at NCADV. And today I'm joined by Jeanette Schultz, Director of Financial Workshop Initiatives for NEFE. Great. So before we begin today's webinar, we have a series of polls that we'd like for you all to take in order for us to get to know you, today's webinar audience. All right, so let's go ahead and launch our first poll. Who is participating today? You can select multiple answers on this one, so feel free to select one or more of the following: domestic violence or sexual assault advocate, family, shelter, or legal, victim or survivor, law enforcement or legal, case manager or counselor, or other. And if you are selecting other, go ahead and indicate your job title in the questions box. I typically like to see about 80% of our webinar audience voting at any time. So please do go ahead and vote. All right, that looks good. We can go ahead and close that up. I'd like to see the active participation already. So 81% of today's webinar audience has indicated that they're either a domestic violence or sexual assault advocate. 23% of you all have indicated that you're a case manager or counselor. 18% have said that they're a victim or survivor. 4% from the law enforcement and legal community. And then I'll go ahead and read out a couple from the other category. We've got an admin from a domestic violence or sexual assault program. We have a financial educator or coach. That's excellent, welcome. And also a resident service coordinator. Thank you all so much and welcome to the webinar. We can go on to the next poll. Where are you located? Go ahead and select one of the following: West Coast, Alaska, and Hawaii, East Coast, Midwest, Southern states and Puerto Rico, or the mountain region. Tell us where you're located. Let's get just a few more votes in if possible. All right, that looks like where we're going to be. Let's go ahead and close that poll. All right, based on today's poll, 51% of our webinar audience is tuning in from the East Coast, 20% from the Midwest, 13% from the southern states and Puerto Rico, 9% from the West Coast, Alaska and Hawaii, and 6% of you all are joining from the mountain region. Great. Let's go ahead and go to the next poll. What is your racial or ethnic identity? And this one you can also select multiple answers. So go ahead and select one or more of the following. Asian or Pacific Islander, American Indian or Alaskan Native, Black, African, African American or Caribbean, Hispanic or Latinx, or white or Caucasian. Excellent participation so far. We really appreciate that. And we can go ahead and close that poll. Thank you all. Based on the poll results, 61% of our webinar audience has indicated that they're white or Caucasian, 19% are Hispanic or Latinx, 16% are Black, African, African American or Caribbean, 8% are Asian or Pacific Islander, and 4% are American Indian or Alaskan Native. Great, let's go ahead on to our fourth of 5 polls. How would you define your community type? Go ahead and select one of the following. Are you tuning in from an urban community, a suburban community, or a rural community? Thank you all for your awesome participation so far in the webinar. We'd like to see that continue. All right, great, we can close that one out. All right, so these results are showing a fairly even split. 38% of our webinar audience are tuning in from a rural community, 36% from an urban community, and 26% from a suburban community. Great, thank you. Let's go ahead on to our 5th and final poll for today's webinar. Is this information for you or those you serve? And you can select one of the following. For me, I want to learn more about retirement. For those I serve, I have clients who need this information, or both. Excellent participation. We appreciate it. All right, we can go ahead and close that poll. Based on the poll results, 68% of our webinar audience has indicated that they are tuning in both for themselves as well as for those they serve. And that is really great because that is how we design these webinars, so I really love to see that. 27% have indicated that they are tuning in for those they serve. So they have clients who need this information. And then 6% said, for me, I want to learn more about retirement. Thank you all so much for your active participation throughout our poll section. And as I mentioned, we'd love to see your participation continue throughout the various interactive activities we have planned for you today.
Let's take a moment to go through the agenda for today's webinar on retirement planning for domestic violence survivors and advocates. We know that your time is incredibly valuable and we want to be sure you're getting what you came here for. And to that point, we want to be very clear about what you can expect to learn during today's session. We have 3 specific outcomes that we will go over during today's webinar session. Each section will have opportunities for you to learn, reflect, and interact. The 3 agenda items for today's webinar sessions are the following. Number 1, how do key retirement decision topics apply to your personal values, retirement objectives, and financial circumstances? Number 2, what are some credible resources you can use for making decisions related to retirement planning? And last, what are the steps you can take to prepare for retirement regardless of your age or current planning level?
fantastic. Let's go ahead and jump into that first section of today's webinar. So we've got 3 key areas that we would like to review on today's webinar. And those 3 areas are the following. We're going to talk about your motivations, your values, as well as your objectives for retirement. So we're going to talk about your feelings, motivations, and the values that you hold in regards to retirement. We're going to envision what will your retirement look like, and then also your retirement aspirations. The second area that we're going to go through today is the key decision areas for retirement. There are 8 of those key decision areas, and we will go ahead and we'll talk about those in our second section, as well as provide some reliable resources for each of those key decision areas. We're going to cover healthcare costs, Social Security, as well as retirement savings options. And then our third key area for today's webinar is going to focus on planning for retirement. We're going to help you to formalize your retirement goals. We're going to think about actions that you can take for each life stage, and then help you to evaluate your progress as you begin saving and planning for retirement. All right, so you can go on. Our first reflection question has to do with the 3 key areas. So which of the 3 key areas are you most familiar with, or would you say that you think about most often? So again, the choices are motivations, values, and objectives, key decision areas for retirement, and planning for retirement. So go ahead and indicate in the questions box, which of those 3 areas would you say that you're the most familiar with, or that you think about most often? Go ahead and type your answer into the questions box. Great. We're getting a lot of responses in. I'd like to see some more. A lot of people are saying that they're most familiar, or they think most about planning for retirement, which I think is fair. That's sort of the conversation that we usually have, particularly in our workplaces, is about how to plan for retirement. But I do think that what is unique about this webinar is that we are going to talk a little bit about those motivations, your values, your objectives for retirement, as well as the different decision areas to kind of help break it down. Someone did ask about the PowerPoint slides. I just want to cover that briefly just so that no one is confused. There is a handouts drop down on your control panel. If you drop that down, you can see all the handouts that we have available, including the one that says retirement webinar slides with slides handout with links. So that's where you would go. And we'll also send it to you in the follow-up email. Great. So yeah, a lot of people are saying that planning for retirement is one of the things that they're thinking most about, or that they're most familiar with. We have a couple people choosing some of the other ones, but I think that one is the most common so far on today's webinar. Thank you for that.
What are your motivations, values, and objectives for retirement? This is the first item on the agenda for us to cover during today's session. Being financially prepared for retirement is a general focus for many people, but you also need to check in with your feelings, motivations, and long-held values about your retirement. How will you feel when you retire? No one can tell you how to feel about your retirement because it's unique to every person. You may be looking forward to retirement, or it might frighten you to think about the finances, what to do with your time, or even how people will react to you as a retiree. Like any transition in life, retiring can bring about various emotions. In this section, we also like to think about the following. What motivates you to retire? Are you prepared for it? What are some of the downsides if you do retire? Lastly, your values count. When you make retirement plans, your financial needs and values will influence your decisions for the retirement you envision. How do your values influence the kind of retirement you see in the future? Will they impact how long you work, or what activities you will spend money and time on? So we're going to engage in an interactive activity. Let's take this first opportunity of today's session to reflect on your feelings about retirement. Take a second to type out which, if any of these statements apply to you, your feelings about retirement. Could I be a burden to others? It's going to be paradise every day. It's sad not having a job. Will my weekdays turn into complete weekends? I feel guilty for not earning what I keep. I'm a little confused. So if you could type some of those emotions in the box, and let's take a look. I'm seeing a lot of people express anxiousness. Peaceful, optimistic, anxious, if it's even possible, worried, losing identity. Great. Thank you.
Excellent. That was an interesting interactive activity. So it gives us a sense of where people are at right now in terms of thinking about retirement, which leads to our next section very nicely. So let's talk about motivation. First, we'll start with motivation. So what motivates you to retire? Are you prepared for it? And also, what are some of the downsides if you do retire? So I'm going to read out a couple of different motivations, and it'll just give you something to think about in terms of whether or not any of these sound familiar. So the first one, I'm tired of working or unhappy with the work I do. So we will acknowledge that stopping working at any time, that could determine your retirement age, but do you have plans for that extra time? So what is the likelihood of your future self enjoying the activities that you might engage in? And also, taking your pension or Social Security benefits early could have long-term consequences to your financial health. So we will talk a bit more about Social Security. So that could be one motivation. Maybe you're tired or unhappy with the work you do. The second one, my company is forcing me into retirement. That could be your situation. Some companies do force retirement because of workforce reductions, relocations, or other cutbacks. So if this is your case, have you been saving all along just in case this were to happen? Or do you need to take Social Security before you may have planned? Another motivation, health concerns for me or others make it difficult for me to continue working. So in today's work environment, caring for yourself or a loved one can make it difficult to continue working. There are folks that are simultaneously raising children as well as taking care of elderly parents. So we acknowledge that that can be a motivation for retiring. The fourth one, I want to enjoy my life with my hobbies, travel, and family. So at age 62, you can start to draw Social Security benefits, though they are reduced. Do you feel like you have enough to sustain yourself in retirement? Will you need to take a part-time job to supplement your savings? And what will take the place of your work identity? Those are all some things to think about. So those are some more common motivations. If you have another one that you'd like to type into the questions box, we'd like to take a look at that, but that's not mandatory. All right, let's go on to the next section and let's discuss a little bit about how your values influence the kind of retirement that you see in the future. When you make retirement plans, your financial needs and values will influence your decision for the retirement you envision. One resource that we recommend is called the Life Values Quiz. We've talked about it on a couple of our different financial education webinars. It's a great resource. It's about 20 questions, and the quiz is based on academic research. And what it reveals is what's behind a person's financial decisions. So we encourage you to check out this tool and more at smartaboutmoney.org, which we'll talk in depth about in our resource section. So the quiz will help you think about the way that your values influence the kind of retirement you might see in the future. So will they impact how long you work or what activities you will spend time and money on? So, and we will also reflect more on our values in just a moment. And then the third section, we'd like for you to think about what what do you really want to do with your retirement? So beginning to envision, what are your goals or aspirations for retirement? So whether or not you think retirement is just right around the corner or a long way off in the future, thinking about what you would want to do with your retirement will give you guidance for your next steps. So what will your ideal retirement look like when it happens? It may be harder than you think to imagine yourself as a retired person. You may actually find that other financial concerns hinder you from thinking too far into the future.
Let's take another opportunity of today's session to reflect on the following. Which of these statements containing value and financial sentiments resonate most with you? Life is too short and work takes up too much of my time. Being healthy and active are important for me. My career defines me. What will I do if I don't work at it? I want to fulfill my dreams, and that will take money. My retirement will mean I finally get to travel to all the places I plan. I'd rather live simply and be free. I want to spend more time with my children and grandchildren when I retire. And I don't want to be financially dependent on my family. Let's see some of those answers. I see a lot saying I want to enjoy my life, spending more time with family, fulfilling dreams, definitely not being dependent on family. Life is short, work takes too much time, and being healthy and active seems to be a very strong priority. When will your retirement happen? Take a moment and respond in the question box which one most relates to you where you are right now. Is it I see something in the far future? Perfect. This is the best time to start planning your retirement. The earlier you can start saving for your retirement, the more benefit you will reap from earning on your savings. Or is it I'm within sight of retirement? Well, okay. Take a good look at your retirement savings. If possible, you've saved somewhere up to 3 times your salary. Keep contributing to your employer-sponsored retirement savings plan and continue or increase savings on your own, like a taxable account or a tax-deferred IRA. It could be I'm closing in on retirement. If you've been saving all along, you might have to have up to 5 times your salary. Don't fret if not. You still have time to save and increase your earnings. Additionally, at age 50 or older, you can increase the amount you contribute to qualified accounts, your 401k, your 403b, and IRA contributions to help you catch up. For those that says I'm already there, that's great. Now it's time to make a decision about continued employment, your financial readiness for retirement, and managing your account in the years to come. If you've been planning all along, then you might be ready to retire. We recommend that you check out Sam's sister site, My Retirement Paycheck, for additional help and consider working with a financial professional. So some of the responses we receive is closing in on retirement, within sight, something in the far distance. That seems to be a majority of the answers. I'm already there, great. Far future. 17 years, that's awesome you have that time. Within sight. Thank you for answering. Now that we have discussed your values, motivations, and broader objectives for retirement, let's move on to the next item on today's agenda. What are the key decision areas for retirement? Shiva?
All right, great. Thanks, Jeanette. And thank you all so much for sharing with us where you all are in terms of what stage of life you're at or how close or far you may be from retirement. It's great to see so much diversity in that way. We're all at different places. So in this webinar, we try to address as many of those different situations as we can. So in this section, we're going to talk about retirement, and the 8 key decision areas. So as you can see, there's this graphic on your screen, and if you look at it, planning for retirement is a lot like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. So every decision that you make in one area of your financial life will have an impact on the others. Factors like how long you will work or how much you have saved will greatly influence your ideal retirement. Challenging your existing beliefs and analyzing what you have in place to make your retirement happen gives you the opportunity to make informed decisions in 8 key areas. So I'll go ahead and read the 8 key areas discussed in this section, which are Social Security, work, insurance, retirement plans, savings and investments, home equity, debt, and fraud. Decisions you make and habits you challenge in each of these areas will have an impact on your overall retirement. Okay, we're going to go on now, and we're going to break down 3 of these key decision areas. So we're going to talk about Social Security, we're going to talk about health insurance, and then lastly, we're going to talk about retirement savings plans. So let's begin with Social Security. One of the most important things you will do as you plan for your retirement is decide when to claim Social Security benefits. But what do you know about how Social Security works? During this section of the webinar, we will explore your knowledge of Social Security to make mindful decisions about taking benefits. Secondly, your healthcare expenses during retirement will prove to be one of the larger categories of your overall budget. Their impact on your lifestyle can be significant due to healthcare costs rising more than the cost of living adjustments that most retirees receive. For these reasons, it pays to understand what costs you might incur during your retirement and options that are available to help pay for your costs and ways to minimize your costs. Lastly, in this section, we'll talk about the various kinds of retirement savings plans. When you retire, you are going to need an income stream that replaces the one you currently have from working. You will also want to fund the lifestyle that you've outlined in your retirement. So what does your retirement plan look like currently? So you may have noticed these 3 key areas. This doesn't cover all 8 key decision areas. So what I'd like to recommend is that each of you take the My Retirement Plan course on Smart About Money, which goes into greater depth on each of the 8 key decision areas. All right, great. So we're going to dig deeper into the Social Security piece. So I have 3 general guidelines to understanding how Social Security works. So if you can, work at least 35 years. The second one is work until full retirement age, which is called FRA. So if you hear FRA, that means full retirement age, unless other conditions push you into retirement. So what is your full retirement age? So I'll talk a little bit about that. Unless you work until what the Social Security Administration calls full retirement age, you will not be eligible to receive 100% payment of your Social Security benefits. This means that even though you may be eligible to begin receiving benefits at 62, if you wait longer, your monthly payments will increase significantly. To calculate your FRA, you can use the retirement age calculator from the Social Security Administration. And we are going to talk about a link to that particular resource and more in our resources section. So if you plan on taking your full retirement benefits from the Social Security Administration, it's helpful to know your full retirement age and the year that you will reach this age to take full benefits. The third guideline is that there is not an ideal age to start receiving Social Security benefits. It's really a personal decision that's based on your situation. There are a few factors that could either increase or reduce your Social Security benefits. The factors are the number of years that you worked and paid into Social Security. Every year you work, your earnings are recorded in the Social Security system. If you have gaps in employment due to illness, unemployment, caregiving duties, or working but not paying into your Social Security, your benefit amount will be lower than it would be otherwise. Another factor is that your earnings during the years you paid into Social Security. So to qualify for Social Security benefits, you have to pay into Social Security and earn 40 credits for 10 years of work. The amount of your monthly benefit is based on your lifetime earnings. The 35 highest documented earning years are taken into consideration. So there's a direct correlation between higher earnings and higher monthly benefits. Therefore, boosting your earnings with secondary employment may be a benefit. And then the third factor is when you decide to receive your benefits. If you opt into your monthly benefits at an earlier age than your full retirement age, your benefit amount could be reduced, and you will receive lower monthly payments over your lifetime. If you can take your benefits after full retirement age, you will receive larger monthly payments. In fact, taking your benefit at age 70 rather than 62 guarantees a 76% return in your benefit amount, something that most investments cannot match. So at this time, I'm going to pass it over to Jeanette to share some resources on Social Security.
Thanks, Shiva. So some of the reliable resources related to Social Security. First, create a My Social Security account to review your Social Security statement showing estimates of future retirement, disability, and survivor benefits, earnings that have been reported by the Social Security Administration, and estimated Social Security and Medicare taxes that you paid. If you notice any errors with your recorded information, use the request for correction of earnings records to make updates. Check out the Benefits Planner, your future benefits website, and visit My Retirement Paycheck, dedicated to retirement issues. Check out the information on Social Security if you need more help. In your handouts, there is a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides where you can click on these links directly from the PDF. We will also include this handout in the follow-up email. Shiva?
Awesome. So this next section is going to focus on healthcare and insurance. So as I mentioned previously, your healthcare expenses during retirement will prove to be one of the larger categories in your overall budget. For that, it pays to understand what costs you might incur during your retirement, options that are available to help pay for your costs, as well as to help minimize your healthcare costs. So I have some general guidelines to navigating health insurance during retirement. The first one is understand your values related to the quality of life and reliance on others for making healthcare decisions. The second, work or have your spouse work until full retirement age or longer to maintain your healthcare coverage through an employer. The next general guideline would be save more for out-of-pocket expenses and have a plan regarding which income sources will be used to pay for healthcare. And then our fourth general guideline is to practice strategies for minimizing your healthcare costs. I'm going to pass it along to Jeanette, and she's going to share some resources on healthcare.
So we're listing some options here on the slide. Longtermcare.gov offers information about long-term care, what is covered and costs. You can also use a Pathfinder to get information relevant to your current age and needs. Medicare.gov is a general site for retrieving information related to Medicare sign-up and coverages, Medigap, and long-term care. State Health Insurance Assistance Program, with the acronym SHIP, provides personalized insurance counseling for Medicare recipients and their families. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services offers information on health marketplace news, Medicare, Medicaid, and other insurance topics. And again, My Retirement Paycheck is Sam's sister site dedicated to retirement issues. Visit the information in the retirement savings plan sections if you need additional help. We have also included a My Medical Needs worksheet in your handouts. Again, in your handouts, there is a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides where you can click on these links directly from the PDF. And as a reminder, we also like to say it is included in your follow-up email. Shiva.
All right, great. So the next section of retirement planning that we're going to focus on is about retirement plans. And as you all mentioned in the beginning, this is the area that some of you all are most concerned about or most knowledgeable about. Here are some general guidelines to making the most of your retirement savings plans. Contribute as much as you possibly can, for as long as you can, especially to employer-sponsored retirement savings plans. And I would say also, particularly to those that have employers that are matching on any of their retirement savings plans. If available, aim to contribute up to the amount your employer will match in an employer-sponsored retirement plan. For example, 6% of pay. So I will acknowledge that in a lot of our, in the nonprofit sector, it's not as common to see employers matching on retirement plans, but that is something that you can advocate for within your agency. Another guideline is that when you're still working, resist the urge to tap into retirement savings. Tapping into retirement savings prior to the age of 59 and a half will incur a penalty, plus ordinary income tax, and take funds away from your future self. Waiting until you must take the required minimum distributions at age 70 and a half lets your money continue to grow. And then the last guideline that I'll offer is to review your retirement plans regularly and ensure that they are providing you the desired growth. So at this time, I pass it along to Jeanette, who is going to share some resources on retirement plans.
Great. Thanks, Shiva. AARP offers full retirement fund calculators and articles for planning. A lifetime income calculator from the U.S. Department of Labor lets you estimate your income stream from defined contribution plans. The Pension Benefit Guaranty Corporation is a federal agency providing protection to certain pension retirees when their plans end. My Retirement Paycheck is Sam's sister site dedicated to retirement issues. Check out the information in the Retirement Savings Plan section if you need additional help. The U.S. Department of Labor contains links to information about all retirement plans. We have also included a PDF called What You Should Know About Your Retirement Plan from the U.S. Department of Labor that covers a gamut of information about different retirement savings plans, making claims, taking benefits with you, and where to go if you have problems. As a reminder, again, your handouts, there's a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides where you can click on these links directly from the PDF, and we will include this handout in the follow-up email. Shiva.
Great. So the next section is about you and about the kinds of retirement plans you currently have. So go ahead and indicate into our questions box, what kinds of retirement plans do you have? Also, you can indicate who contributes to the plans in terms of your employer, yourself, or both of you. So the choices that we've offered today are the traditional IRA, which is a tax-deferred contributions and earnings that are subject to a 10% penalty if withdrawn before the age of 59 and a half. We've also got a Roth IRA, where contributions are made after taxes that have been paid. We have a defined contribution plan, such as a 401k or a 403b, which is a defined contribution plan in which matching contributions may be made by your employer. And the last choice we have here is the defined benefit plan, such as a pension or an annuity, where contributions and administration of the plan are usually the responsibility of an employer. So we're curious, on our webinar, what types of retirement plans do you have? And if you can also indicate who contributes to these plans. Is it you, your employer, or both? Great. So far I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they have a 401k. Some people even said they have all of these, which is excellent.
That's awesome.
It's good to diversify your investments and your retirement plans. 403b, and someone said that just they are contributing. Our Roth IRA and a traditional IRA, which is great. A pension, military, a 401k with some matching, that's excellent. You don't see as many pensions anymore as you did in the past, but it is something that is still used in some industries, which is excellent to see. And if you are in the position where you did indicate none of the above, this just gives you an idea of what types of retirement plans are out there, and so that you can start to consider maybe which one would work best for you. Both, meaning a lot of people are saying both in terms of who contributes to the plan, which is really great to see. So maybe my theory that a lot of people are not getting matching is not all the way correct, so it's good to know. Very good. None of the above. A simple plan, probably meaning a 401k, I'm thinking, where an employer pays 3%. I'm seeing 403B with an employer match. That's awesome. Good to hear. All of them, both. Okay, great. Thank you all so much for that.
What steps do you need to take for an optimal retirement? Depending on your age and life circumstances, your retirement preparations will likely vary. It is likely that you will need to work on several of 8 key retirement planning areas at once, and this can get overwhelming. The good news is realistic retirement prep are within your reach. In this section, we will review some actions you can take no matter what groundwork you have in place. Once you have set goals, it is important to check with your progress on the goals you have for retirement. As mentioned, many of these goals will be concentrated in one or more of 8 areas, and you might be working on them concurrently. Evaluating your progress will make it easier to identify what you need to address first. Here are some ideas for checking in with your progress and recognizing completion of your actions and goals. What is the first step you have to take? The second, the third, etc. How will it look when you are finished with that step? What reward will you give yourself when you finish each step? How will you monitor your progress toward the overall goal or action? What evidence will you have of this progress? How will you measure success? And what will you do if you have a setback? Will you make adjustments? And who can help you make them? Who else needs to work with you to make sure you stay on track? What is your confidence to achieve the overall goal or action?
Great. We're going to go on to talking about goals. So let's begin to formalize your retirement goals. This section will be interactive, so as I'm sort of introducing it, you're ready to go ahead and interact via the questions box. So as we've mentioned, retirement goals are influenced by the 8 key decision areas that have been discussed earlier. Hopefully, as you've analyzed the 8 key areas, you've thought about how these areas will impact the ideal retirement you've laid out earlier in the course. So take some time, and we're going to take a little bit of time here so that we can read out some of the responses, to type out your responses to these 2 questions. The first one is, what are 3 goals that you'd like to set for yourself for your ideal retirement? And then also, how do the 8 key areas help you to achieve your ideal retirement? So while you're taking some time to think about your responses as far as your goals that you'd like to set for yourself for an ideal retirement, I'll talk a little bit more about how to reach your retirement goals. So your goals could be something like this. Have enough money saved in my employer-based defined contribution plan to pay for a family trip every 3 years. Be in good enough health to enjoy traveling with my family. A lot of you mentioned that health was a really big priority, so maybe that's part of your goals and your vision for retirement. So it'd be great to start seeing some of your responses in terms of what do your goals look like in terms of your retirement. And I'll go ahead and read some of those out to our webinar audience. Plenty of money to live. That's a great goal. Have enough money to live on without struggling. Great. Financial, family, fun. We had an acronym going there. It's really good. Or alliteration, rather. Very good. Be able to travel and be able to do anything else I want to do. Good. I'd like to see people thinking more about those 8 key areas in terms of these. I'm just challenging you. You know, I think a lot in terms of, or we think a lot in these courses in terms of SMART goals. So we want them to really to have specifics. We want them to be measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So those are ways that you can think about how you write your goals. So you want them to have some kind of a time frame. You want to be able to measure your goals in some way. So that's a challenge for folks as you are writing out your goals. To stay healthy and active. Someone has shared a goal for those they serve. To see retirement as attainable and pursue it attentively. Thank you so much for that. Someone said, they allow me to put enough money back for retirement to achieve my goals and not have to struggle now. Great. This person said, have enough income to be able to travel overseas to see family. That can be very costly, so I very much understand that. You gotta prioritize to make it happen. Manage debt comfortably, travel, maintain health benefits that meet my medical needs. Absolutely. So that one is touching on the 8 key areas of that, the health insurance piece. So that person wants to maintain their health care benefits so that they can meet their medical needs. So thinking about how you would do that during retirement. Again, to be healthy enough to enjoy traveling in retirement. Have enough money set aside to cover monthly costs, health insurance, and costs of taking care of my medically fragile child. Thank you, and that is very specific. We appreciate you sharing that. To maintain my health by being more physically active. Health is a really big theme here, which I really support you all in having as a goal. It's really critical. If you're not well, if you're not healthy, it will be a lot more challenging to really enjoy those retirement years. You deserve to enjoy those. Enough money to support traveling and modest lifestyle. Have enough money to travel with my family. Great. Pay off my house. That's a great goal. That is a great goal. So maybe add a time frame to that. So maybe you want to think about when would it be realistic to pay off your house? Probably not this year, maybe not next year, but when realistically would that be a goal for you? Maintain health care benefits throughout retirement. Very good. This is excellent. I love to see people thinking in terms of those 8 key decision areas. I think those are very helpful. I think when we think about retirement, often it's this thing that's like above us and it seems a bit far away. But if we can break it down into 8 key areas and start to understand how to get there, that can really be helpful for us in our overall work towards achieving our goals.
SAM stands for Smart About Money, but it also stands for the following: size up your situation, analyze your circumstances, and make a plan. SAM is NEFE's consumer-focused website providing American adults with action-oriented e-learning courses on foundational financial concepts. There are 7 in-depth courses, including an awesome course called My Retirement Plan. It's about 45 minutes in length if you complete it in one sitting. There are also 5 money basic courses that cover foundational financial concepts like spending/savings, credit/debt, and insurance. You can go at your own pace and can access them anytime as long as you have an internet connection. The site is mobile friendly, so you can access it on your cell phone or tablet too. You can register for an account, but you don't have to. The benefits of registering allows you to save your budgets and bookmark specific web pages that you may want to come back to. The SAM Financial Wellbeing course objectives are the following: establishing personal financial security, well-being based on your personal values and circumstances, analyzing how your money management habits affect your financial security, and implementing strategies and systems to realize your own sense of financial well-being. Also, to help you inventory your existing retirement plan assets, we have included a retirement plan inventory worksheet to list all of your current retirement savings. Estimate fund balances at this current time or use your fund statements to provide actual numbers. So let's wrap up by referring you to a few more retirement resources, and keep in mind that there are many more in the SAM My Retirement Plan course. The National Endowment for Financial Education, you can find us at www.nefe.org. It is sort of the parent organization for all these websites that we'll be mentioning. Financialworkshopkits.org talks about how to sign up for the listserv, share all your benefits of receiving it, and a free quarterly newsletter sent to you every quarter. Smartaboutmoney.org, mentioned several times during this webinar, and myretirementpaycheck.org. Outside of NEFE, the Consumer Financial Planning Bureau gives sound advice for protecting what's yours. They also have either weekly updates, monthly updates on what's trending, what's current. The Insurance Information Institute offers insurance stats and a glossary of common insurance terms. In your handouts, there is a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides where you can click on these links directly from the PDF. We will also include this handout in the follow-up email.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Jeanette. And then also I want to take a moment and thank everybody for your very active participation and for your attendance for all 6 of our webinars in our 2018 Financial Education Webinar Series. I would like everyone to stay tuned in Q1 of 2019 for information on next year's series. Also, I want to mention that you can catch up on recordings of previous financial education webinars on the NCADV YouTube channel. And you can go to www.ncadv.org/financial-education for the links to each recording on YouTube. I'll also put that link into our chat box really quick here. Thank you all so much for your active participation on this webinar. We hope that your learning does not stop here. We know that there were a lot of resources shared in this webinar, and I really highly recommend the My Retirement Plan course in Smart About Money. I think that's an excellent, really in-depth course, and having been through this webinar, you'll have a pretty good sort of baseline of knowledge going into that course. But again, these are all online courses that are free. So we really encourage you to take advantage of some of those resources. And we wish you the best for the rest of 2018. And thank you again so much for all of your participation in our webinar series.
Thank you.